all of you being here. You all had a special place in both my parents' lives and in our lives. And this is a special time of the season, of the holiday season. And it's really wonderful to share this experience with all of you. This, you may be wondering why the services on this day. Many of you may be probably aware our parents sadly passed away in September. It was the latter part of September, about 7 days apart, coincidentally. And it was a really tough time for both me and my sister and our families. And my daughter was also in Europe at the time. And so we made a family decision to sort of have a celebration of life, to celebrate their life as they lived it. And as Cash said, my mom wanted this to be a happy event. So I'm here to sort of provide a short eulogy, and Kashmira and Maya will also be, Kiana and Maya will also be saying a few words, but really we also want you to think about if there's something that you would like to say to Iris and Ron. You're either welcome to come up here and say it, or you can say it from where you are, but just think about as the lives that they shared with you and how they may have impacted your lives. If we want you to really have an opportunity to say anything you might want to share with them. So with that, we'll start a brief eulogy.
This is Anthony, everyone, and he's from Sri Lanka too.
Thank you, Anthony. My mother Iris was born in Colombo, Sri Lanka on September 16, 1932. She was part of the Burgher community who were a mixed race of Dutch and Portuguese descent. She was the third child of a family of 6 siblings and is survived by her very close sister Marina Vijayasekara. And I want to say that really Marina in Iris's last days was very, very close to her and called her almost daily, and really want to acknowledge her. Marina is unfortunately in Sri Lanka and unable to travel, but hopefully through the web and Kathy, our friend, is videotaping this, we'll be able to acknowledge and recognize Marina and her family for all their contributions to help, especially in terms of helping Iris towards the last days that she was with us. My mother Iris lost her mother at the age of 14 or 15, and it really was a sentinel event in her life. She loved her mother, and the loss was really devastating for her. And I think because of that, because she had missed growing up with her mother, she made a conscious effort to really love and nurture both Kashmira and myself, her extended family, and her nieces and nephews, and really lived a large part of her life in that nurturing process, and many of you experienced that through your interactions with her. Our mom attended Catholic schools and asked her parents to allow her to study science, which meant transferring to an all-boys school to focus on a science curriculum. This was very rare back in Sri Lanka in the early 50s. Iris's tenacity was evident very early on. She was smart but not brilliant, and she had to sit for her national college exams twice to get in. Only the top scorers, or a very small percent of students in the country, were admitted to the only university in Sri Lanka. So it was extremely competitive, and she just persevered and knew that that's something that really she wanted to do. She had an early vision of really, I think, making a difference in other people's lives. She attended her first International Women's Conference in Singapore at the age of 18 and 19, and then later earned a Fulbright scholarship for a master's studies program at Oberlin College in Ohio. She didn't complete it because it was a 2-year program, and unfortunately, her country only sponsored a single year of that. But she loved to travel, and on her way back home, went through Europe and visited many countries. She was very good friends with my father's sister Hira, and that's how our parents met in the late 50s. They were married today, December 29th, on 1960. So it really today symbolizes their 57th anniversary. And so that is part of the celebration and why we chose today as a very auspicious day. They both showed great courage by marrying outside their culture and their faith. And our other siblings followed suit, but my parents really led the way. It wasn't always easy, but they stayed faithful and devoted to each other. Our dad, Rutton Pestonjee, was born in Colombo, Sri Lanka on March 1st, 1925. He was the second oldest in a family of 7, and is survived by his brother Pacey Pestonjee and his sister Roshan Reynolds. Our dad attended Royal College School in Sri Lanka and studied a couple of years at Doggers College in Bombay, India. He studied business but did not complete his degree. Instead, being the oldest, returned home to help his father in their family business. My dad worked in their family business, which was an export-import business, and then in the early 60s, broke away from his family and started his own business and partnership called Associated Paper Trades. In his youth, our dad was an avid cricketer, a tennis player, and he and his brother were top-ranked table tennis players. He also enjoyed ballroom dancing and body surfing. Some of my fondest memories of my dad included body surfing at Mount Lavinia Beach in Sri Lanka. Last year, my son and I did a volunteer project in Sri Lanka, and I had a chance to show my son where my dad and I surfed. Our father was Parsi and of the Zoroastrian faith, one of the first known monotheistic religions. The Parsis fled Persia and his family settled in India and then came to Sri Lanka. Today there are fewer than 200,000 Parsis in the world. Dad never spoke much about his background or his religion, but he would sometimes hear him speak Gujarati. Dad also spoke Urdu and Sinhalese. Our father lived a pure and clean life. He lived and practiced the Zoroastrian principles of Humata, Hukata, Havasta, which translates into good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Our dad traveled extensively in the world. Part of it was due to his business and partly because he enjoyed traveling and exploring different parts of the world. In the early 1970s, Sri Lanka was going through a period of civil unrest, significant civil unrest. Our dad found it increasingly difficult to do business in Sri Lanka. And as a result, he and my mother opted to immigrate to the United States. They first moved to Australia, or tried to immigrate to Australia, but while they were waiting for acceptance, my dad's sister actually helped them to move to the U.S. During that process, he had traveled extensively and found that one of the places he visited was Hawaii. Hawaii, to him, seemed to be like a very special place. It had the warmth of the climate that he loved. He really wasn't a fan of the cold, but mostly what he loved was the people and culture of Hawaii. The fact that it was a melting pot and that people really embraced and accepted each other.